Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, alright, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Alright, the name of this lesson is this truth is a narrow path. Alright, this truth is a narrow path. Alright, the straight gate, what Yahweh Hashem Yahushai putting us through. Alright, to see who will, fall, who will fall off the track, or who will endure, keep on enduring. Alright, the straight gate. This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. It says, "Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat." Alright. Which the straight, the word straight means a position of difficulty. Alright. We can even go into the word. Let's go into it. Straight. Is there any Greek here?
Strong's G 4728. Stenos.
Stenos. Alright, outline of biblical usage: narrow, straight. Alright, narrow from obstacles, standing close. Alright, so it's a narrow path, a straight path, we walking through. Alright, let's go back to the precept. Alright, let me read it over. This is Matthew 7, verse 13. It says, "Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat." Alright, the wide gate, the easy way. That path, that gonna lead you to destruction. Alright, if it going easy for you, getting stuff easy, that means the Lord, not dealing with you. Alright. Which is a frightening thing, and if the Lord not dealing with you, if you're not getting chastised from him, alright, he gonna put you, you going down in that path of destruction. Alright. Verse 14. "Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way that leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it." Alright, so you have to make sure that, the Lord is chastising you, that you're going through that straight gate. Alright. And when you're going through, difficulty, again, hard times, you know that you're on a narrow path. Alright. Okay. Hebrews, let's get the book of Hebrews. Hebrews chapter 12. Start at verse 6. It says, "For whom Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai loveth, he chasteneth and scourgeth every son with he receiveth." And verse 7, "If ye endure chastising, power dealeth with you as with sons. For what sons is he whom the Father chasteneth not? Alright, but if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then Then are ye bastards and not sons. Alright, if you're not getting chastised, you know, he's a bastard. Alright, you know, you're not the son of the heavenly Father. Alright, you know, so, you know, so when you're going through chastisement, you know, afflictions, you know that the Lord, you know, is dealing with you. Alright, let's jump down to 11. It says, now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, Salakia, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Alright, you know. Okay, you know, so, you know, as we going through those are fiery trials. Alright, you know, we getting build up, you know, our minds getting stronger. Alright, we get stronger as we going through this walk. Alright, you know, and the burden, you know, starts to get, you know, a little lighter. Alright, you know, as we go through this walk. Okay, you know, so, you know, let's get this other precept. Ephesians, Salakia. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 10. You know, finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and put in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of power, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Alright, demons. You know, that's what we wrestle against. You know, it's a spiritual fight, you know, we go through, you know, on this narrow path. You know, that's what we endure. Alright. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3. It says, thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier for Yahushua Mashiach. Alright, you know, so we endure hardness as, you know, good soldiers for Yahushua, alright? You know, verse 4, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him whom hath chosen him to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for the masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. Alright, you know, so we have to go through these things, you know, in order to get the prize, alright? That's why, okay? And look up that word endure. Let's look at that. Endure. It's in the Greek here.
Strong's G 2553.
Karkapatheo. To suffer, endure evils, hardships, troubles, to be afflicted. Alright, KJV, King James version translation, endure hardness, suffer trouble, endure affliction, be afflicted. Right, Strong's definition, from the same as to undergo hardship, be afflicted, endure afflictions, hardness, you know, suffer trouble. Alright, so that's what we do in order to get the prize. You had to, you know, the reward at the end. You know, you had to go through these things. Alright, you know, get this. Alright, we had to go through these things. Get Sirach, go in the Apocrypha. This is the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, and verse 1. Alright, it says, my son, if thou come to serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, prepare thy soul for temptation. Alright, okay, and this is what you have to expect, when you're coming into this truth. Alright, verse 2, set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Alright, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Alright, okay, so that's what you had to go through. Alright, the Lord putting us in the fire, to burn off the impurities, for us to become perfect. Alright, that's why you're going through these things, to become perfect, gold. We is the gold being tried in the fire. Alright, so as we go into this thing, the Lord building us up stronger, alright? Making our mind stronger as we're going through this walk. Alright, for also to the time to come. Okay, let's get this last precept here. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 3. Verse 3, it says, and I said, speak on my power. This is Ezra talking here. And I said, speak on my power. Then said he unto me, the sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case, the entrance were narrow, and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it, and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? Alright. There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water. Alright, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. Okay, that's how narrow that path is. Alright, okay, so that's what we had to go through in this truth. Alright, we had to keep on endure, endure to the end. Alright, if you endure to the end, Yahushai, Yahushai, is there waiting for you with the prize. Alright, so we had to go through that straight gate. Alright, so I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Wa Abad Babal Shalom.